Recording in progress.
Hello, friends, classmates attending ALEC 877 Leadership and Motivation. This is Fakadu Ratta. Today, I just wanted to be a little bit creative in working on our class discussion about evidentiary findings, number 2. So I wanted to make this YouTube video, so that I also keep it for my future references. Also, I wanted to do a little bit better than just writing on the board. So, because I didn't join the Zoom session, maybe this is one of the ways I could share with you what I'm doing and how I see this course and why I joined this. Especially what I expect to get from this leadership and motivation course in general. You might have seen from my posts during the few weeks before that when I joined this PhD program in leadership studies, my biggest aim or motivation is to help me grow the nonprofit that I'm working on currently, which is Youth and Education Support Service. So I'm leading this mission and it's been registered in Ethiopia. Currently, we are working on getting registration here in the United States. So our aim is to really grow this program. And it's one of the biggest things committed about these days. So I see this class within that lens, within that big picture of me using the key lessons and networks from this class, including our classmates, as a future input to what I want to do as part of Youth and Education Support Service. So yeah, that answers like the first question. How can you personally apply the theories and lessons so far? What does it mean to you? As I said, I'm working for a nonprofit that's called Youth and Education Support Service Ethiopia. In short, it is called Yes Ethiopia. And I also would like to show you like my t-shirt now. Like Yes Ethiopia is already Yes Global, so Youth and Education Support Service, YESS. This is Youth and Education Support Service. And this program is going to be registered here in Nebraska, which means side by side, working on my PhD, I'm also trying to get this nonprofit, started here. So, that's the first thing. And it's not only the nonprofit Youth and Education Support Service, but we're also aiming to start a big training program in Ethiopia, which is going to be a technical college with agriculture major. Since I come from higher education, I'm a teacher. I've been employed by Hawassa University, one of the universities in Ethiopia, since I finished my undergraduate. And I'm lucky, thanks to God, I have been to different countries. I've been to different places. I had the chance to visit about 10 countries, and almost all my travels have been associated with either study or project work, collaboration, short training, this kind of thing. So even my mission in US is also associated with this. So there is a clear aim, there is a clear purpose why I joined this class and how I plan to use it. And the second question is, was there a reading that resonated with you? How will you use this material in your personal and professional life? It's like one of the very major things that I say I can gain from this class, that I did already gain from this class, is the fact that motivation is primarily intrinsic, and it's an active process. I used to think like we could motivate others, right? By doing different things, you could motivate others. Now I understand that people should be ready to be motivated, so they can only motivate themselves. So motivation is an active process. It's more intrinsic than external. So whatever we do outside with the environment, whatever message we send or whatever work environment things we try to do good, like what we see from the I think Elford's internal and external motivation things. So that's how I understand. This is like the central message I would say There are different theories, as you know. I'm going to discuss about them in a few minutes. But this is what I keep in mind. Whatever you do, if people are not willing to change, if people are not willing to take action, we cannot say they are motivated. We cannot say they are ready to, make the decisions they want to make in their life or contribute towards the organization or towards their own private and informal lives. So it's very important to make sure that people have control and then the active role during the process of motivation. So we could facilitate, we can, make the environment better, we can improve the facilities and the services, the salary, or whatever we do, but people should be ready to be motivated and they should motivate them. So we cannot motivate others. I might took it very far, but this is how I understood in general the basics of motivation. And then there are theories that I would reflect on as we go. So in next, we were also asked to identify concepts of theory, one or two within the set of readings that you believe are important for leaders to learn and to apply. Why or why not? Well, in general, my reflection is that we cannot restrict leaders to study all of few theories, because all these theories speak to different contexts. Like we started with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, even if it has some limitations, like putting needs in order, but there are some very basic realities there. Like you need to, as a leader, I just pick some key points from here. As I said, we cannot restrict leaders only to focus on a given leadership, or motivation theory, but they should have the basics in mind. What are these basics? As I said, first, understand the point of motivation, that motivation is intrinsic. And then second, understand the needs of their followers. It's very important for leaders to understand and to know where their followers are coming from. People have different motivations, different reasons, different priorities in their life. No? So leaders need to keep this in mind. Where are people in their stage of development or the things they put high on their career ambitions? I would like to focus here my own experiences or how I see leaders in my life. Can be my teachers or my department, my university, employers, can be national leaders, or it depends on when we say leader, which leader for which set of conditions. So let's say in my academic life here in US or at UNL, we have different leaders. We have our department, we have our university, we have advisors or our teachers, and there are different people that formally or informally influence what we do. So it's good for these people to keep in mind what is the need? Why, let's say, why is FUCADU in the United States? What is very high agenda for FUCADU, right? Me as an employee, me as a student, me as a follower, I expect my leaders to understand the needs. And this has been written in the book from LATAM, page 131 to 139. So the need hierarchy is very important to understand where the followers are coming from and what is high priority in their mind. And also the self-esteem theory and self-categorization. I mentioned this because it makes sense from my own point of view, especially the self-categorization or social categorization theory. I always see myself, I'm an African and I'm someone from Ethiopia, right? What I do, how I engage with people, depends on where I come from, how I understand my society, and my role within my society. So let's say I can comment here based on my time in Denmark. When I was in Denmark for my master's, I remember whenever I see something good, then I wish that to happen in my country, in my village, because where I come from, people are still struggling to have, peace, to have better schools, better education, better health facilities, better jobs and safe environments. So I always associate my daily engagements with where I come from and whom I represent. So I try to be voice for the voiceless people. I do, if you follow my social media, I work a lot on speaking about the young people, let's say university graduates who couldn't get job, or Ethiopian families that have land and water and the like, but still they don't have enough food, or highly educated people, but still those who struggle to get enough income to support their families. So I think this is very important. So it's also, the name of the theories for me is not as such an issue, but the central point here from the first part is the need. What is the need of the follower? What is motivating them? For what do they want to achieve in their life? I think this is very important for leaders to know, right? Especially when people are employed. Well, for students, more or less, because it's very well written, it's structured. When you are a student in a given course, you know how you are evaluated and what you have to do. There is a schedule, a curriculum, and it's easy. But sometimes within the work environment, things are not that very clear. And sometimes we want to make things better and we don't have a room to modify it, right? Let's say for this course now, I could adjust the way I want to report to Dr. Souza, right? I know within the education environment, especially when you are a student, things are not as such very complicated. From my experience working in higher education, sometimes our teachers come from very different backgrounds. Our students come from different, contexts. There are students that struggle to come to school or who have very good income, but still they worry about their parents, maybe those who have sick people at home, or, So, like, this is really, really very important, the need element. Like, what is the vision that followers bring to the table? And how do leaders really try to manage all these different needs? For some of the people, well, because of their social context or where they come from, salary can be a very big topic, right? Even if salary is not as such an internal motivating factor, as a leader, you need to make sure the environment is going to be an obstacle on people. Of course, you can't always pay people a lot of money, right? But the leader should be someone who understands, who listens, and who try to get the context and the need people bring to the table. And the other reading that I like the most is the self-determination theory. Deci and Ryan, they really put this thing very clear about the intrinsic motivation, like the motivation behind people's choice in the absence of external influence. This is very, very important. I really like it, especially the point of autonomy, competency, and relatedness. Yeah, especially nowadays, I am a kind of one of the people who want to be really autonomous and try to live my dream, right? I was not this kind of person before a few years, but nowadays I really think a lot about what is the point that I want to, want to be remembered about. What should I contribute to the village where I come from, or my family, my students, my country, right? So I think like the self-determination theory, this is very, deep from my understanding. Let's say autonomy. People need to feel in control of their own life, behaviors, and goals. This is about choice, right? So, like, let's say now, I really thank Dr. Suzanne how she made this course flexible so that it accommodates all the students' schedule and work life and competencies and how we want to engage. So this is one of the ways you could demonstrate autonomy, right? Let's say, how can a teacher, if you give a teacher a chance to make things flexible, even if the curriculum doesn't allow. I come from Africa, I come from Ethiopia, where a lot of things are really very structured. Let's say there was a teacher writing to me like during the past 1 week. He wanted to change the curriculum. He's teaching in one of the Ethiopian universities. And well, you can't just change the curriculum, but you could change the way you teach, right? So giving people autonomy and control over what they do can make them feel empowered so that they really own what they're doing rather than thinking, oh, I was told to do this, I don't like it. That's really one of the, I have seen a lot of these kind of things where I have to do something because it was told by the top management or the like, while I don't agree. It's really very bad situation. So, and then the competency element. People need to gain mastery and control of their own lives and their environment. This is essential to wellness, which means, let's say you might be hired to do something, and then if you don't have the competency to do it, or if some skill is missing, then the organization should find ways so that you feel competent, you feel trained and fit enough to do the job, right? Myself now, I'm investing on my skill and competencies so that by the time we make this non-profit, let's say when we get a license to operate in this college, once we start hiring people, I should know how to work with people because I come from agriculture and nutrition major. So leadership is not my specialty. A lot of these theories I'm learning in this class. I didn't learn them before. Imagine me starting to be a leader without not having these theories and these experiences and these insights in mind, right? It changes the way you engage with people. So it's really very important to keep this in mind, especially also about relatedness. This is the third element. In self-determination theory, relatedness is people need to experience and sense a sense of belonging and connection with other people. Feeling cared for by others and to care for others is very, very important. Let's say if a staff member is sick or if their children is having a problem, right? Then you need to be in an environment where people can share your burden, right? Or if you couldn't finish your assignment, or if you couldn't, complete your tasks, or what do you do when you are free during holiday times, for example? Are there people who send you like best wishes? Are there people that share your joy and sadness? These things especially make our engagement, our workplaces very meaningful. So this is how I understand, and this is what I think a leader should do. And also, I note it's very important. You don't need to be a leader because leadership is not a position. Everybody can be a leader if they feel that they have a commitment to make themselves and the environment better. So I always tell this to my students, especially those attending my training programs. I tell them like, don't expect the government to do these things or the university to make things better. You yourself should make things better. Choose or think about what are the things in your environment where you can influence, where you can take action. Can be very small, right? What do you write on your Facebook or on your social media, for example? That's what I ask my students. Because, for example, there is conflict in the world, right? There is war in Russia and in Ukraine. We know what's happening in Israel and in Palestine. Even in Ethiopia, we have conflict now. What's happening in West Africa and different parts of the world. So, you never know how what you do would influence others and how you feel the pain and the joy of others, right? So this is a relatedness element is also very important in self-determination. And then values on page 163, self versus organization. Now, we also need to think beyond needs and what are the values. These things are really very much intertwined. So it's not just easy to say, this is a need and this is my values. Especially now asking myself, like, for example, I stay in higher education. I'm a teacher, as I said. I come from a university. I never thought about how big my salary is when I teach. Because education changed the way I see the world and who I am and what I live for. My mom and dad, both of them, they didn't go to school, right? Maybe you have seen from my posts that I post in the class discussion. I come from a family where mom and dad didn't go to school. It's education that changed a lot of my way of life, my career, my income, the way I understand the world, and the way I want to impact the world. So I really value education, right? That's why I stay. That's why I work in university. That's why I didn't go for a better salary. Because I know I'm already better off compared to how people from my village or most of the people in my family are living today. So I always ask myself, like, how can I contribute the best way is education, because I know this is my experience. I did experience education. I stayed a lot of my career in higher education. So I value education, right? That's why even I now work to open this non-profit and then open a college, a technical college in Africa. So leaders need to understand, what do people value and care about. Just the needs might not explain values. These values might extend even to our spiritual and higher aspirations, right? So this is really, really very important, how we see ourselves and then our organizations. So for me, like the institution that's providing education or training and the like, I value these institutions because I know they empower people. They are to the critical mindsets. They make life easier by empowering people so that the people would live by the expectations, right? If you're not educated, if you're not critical, you just go by the wind, right? So this is really, really one of the things I keep as a leader, and in mind that values are very, very big. Then the final point I want to discuss about from chapter 9, the cognition element, is the goal setting. When we want to take actions, when we want to change motivations and the like into practice, I remember the goal setting idea. I used to do a little bit of goal setting in my short courses, and myself when I get the first leadership training, Ethiopian Nutrition Leaders Network in Ethiopia. That was one of the things that motivated me to do a PhD in leadership and start my own institution. Goal is very, very important. People might call it dream or vision or purpose or whatever. In short and long term, people need to understand the point of goal setting. Especially leaders need to know this. What is the goal of the institution? What do you want to achieve in short and long term? And how these goals are. Is this very easy goals or hard goals? As we read from the book, if you just keep making easy goals, you don't get as such motivator to finish. So well-designed, specific goals, but a little bit challenging goals are very good. Goals that push a little bit, our boundaries and the like. And also the need to focus on process, learning goals than just outcome goals. Let's say a student, if we have students attending this leadership course, or when I tell to my children, my first daughter is grade 11, and I always tell her, like, okay, if you score 100 out of 100 without reading, if the exams were easy or the like, I don't value those grades. But if you read, do all your exercises, if you do your homework, if you read your books, and then you use your time effectively, I really appreciate even if you get 80 or 75 out of 100. Because I know at the end of the day, the things that make meaningful change in the future are the process. It's the learning process. It's not just the A's and the B's, right? It's not just the points you get out of a course or a given mission. So it's not, let's say, if it's about salary, for example, what did you do to get money, right? Salary might be the end point, or promotion can be the final point, or PhD degree can be the final point. But what did you learn during the process? I've seen a lot of people who have, let's say, PhD degrees or professor qualifications, but in terms of impact, you don't see the seeds coming. And the worst, I've seen people, highly qualified people, disappointing, demotivating, and doing harm on others, right? So maybe the process can be a problem. When people focus a lot on the outcome, that's the dangerous thing. So this is one of the things I keep in mind, and I tell leaders to, and then also goal commitment. I'm very specific about this. I've seen a lot of young people in my forum, myself included. We set goals, but we don't commit. We have ideas, we have plans, we have different priorities, but we don't commit. Even I see how people use, let's say, physical exercise and gyms. I've seen a paper which says, like, just after the new year, because people make a new year plan, the amount of people going to gym to do physical exercise increases by about 40%. But 7 or 8 weeks after New Year, no more people come to gym. Goal commitment is a question. I've seen lately. I have a virtual training, where I, sometimes volunteer to help my Ethiopian brothers and sisters. So about 270 people signed up for a training. I said I give you courses once per month. Then a lot of them applied and then sent me their email, and then I sent them a video, and then I asked them to send me like an assignment after they go through the audio and the like. Trust me, I don't know if 10% of people did that. That's why commitment, having goals or motivation or the like, if we don't take action and if we don't maintain, that's a very big challenge. So it goes with the values, goals, also personalities, the environment. If you made a realistic goal, and then if you have the competencies to do them, and if the environment is also supportive, especially how autonomous are you in making your goals? Are you realistic? Are you sure that you give your time and your commitment in making it happen? I think these are very basic things, and I hope you get the points. And I wish I also submit a written part, but this should tell the story. And thank you very much, Dr. Suzanne, for giving us the opportunity. I also thank you all who had the opportunity to listen. And yeah, please feel free to write on the discussion part of this video. And I'm keeping it also for my future references. I'm very sure I'm going to use it for my future missions. So yeah, thank you very much. And God bless you all.